You know what, that 5 years, yes, I was working my face off. My friends, partying, drinking, chasing girls, all this. Guess where all my friends are now? They're broke.
Duh. How do you think I get to be successful? Because I invest in myself, right? I'm always investing in myself. I'm always looking for the edge.
If you cannot become the best version of yourself, how are you going to become the best dad that you could be? The best mom, the best husband, the best wife?
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like nah, 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 nah. For my top 10, top 10, nah, nah, nah. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to change your belief system, change your environment, and get more productive with Dan Lok and my take on his top 50 rules for success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule #1. Change your belief system.
Have you ever wondered why you work very hard yet you don't get ahead financially? I remember when I was 18, 19 years old that I was hustling and trying to do side jobs and try to make a living, try to support my mom, but I could never get ahead financially. I was desperate for money. I wanted to make more money to be able to provide for my family, but I could never get ahead. And I realized that there is something in my belief system back then that was holding me back. So you need to stop thinking like this if you ever want to get ahead financially, if you ever want to be successful, if you want to be rich. You see, money is a very interesting thing. Money doesn't go to the people who are desperate for it. That it's not enough to say, I want to make more money, that, oh, I want to increase my income, that I want to pay off that debt. That's not enough, right? If you want to make more money, money earned is a byproduct of value creation. So at the time I wanted to make more money, but I couldn't make more money because I wasn't upgrading my skill sets. If you want to make $1 million, solve $1 million problem. Right? If you want to make $100 million, solve $100 million problems, right? So don't chase money, chase problems. What are some of the problems that in the marketplace that you could solve, maybe only you could solve, that you could bring to the marketplace?
Rule #2, change your environment.
Sometimes I do see your question about, well, Dan, the environment I'm in a small city and things like that. Move. Get out of the environment, right? Your environment is a huge factor, right? It plays a huge factor when it comes to success and fulfillment in life. So if you don't like where you are in, where you're located, and there are not a lot of opportunities, move. You see those signs, right? Highway. You can get in a car and move. You get in a plane and move. If you want it bad enough, do it. Find a way, whatever it takes, because you need to operate in an environment where it is beneficial and supportive of the vision that you have for yourself. So I think location matters a lot, and I think environment, if anything, look at environment, meaning who you surround yourself with. If you don't have a lot of good people that you could surround yourself with where you're located, you have to get out of there. You have to go to places where the action is at, right? Where things are happening. Maybe it's a big city. It doesn't always have to be a big city, but you'll see the people that you meet, the people that you are able to interact with. Opportunities just they open up.
Rule #3, get more productive.
In front of a computer, you're working on it, let's say 2, 3, 4 hours straight. Non-stop. You notice how you lose focus and you get fatigue.
Yeah.
Right?
Productivity.
You notice like you can see like at first first hour, but then even you're doing the work, but after a few hours, you're like you feel your productivity is going down after like 4 or 5 hours, right?
Hey, how long we been here anyways?
37 minutes.
What? 37 minutes? That's insane.
Yeah, so because human beings, we're not designed to do that. Our brain and all that, we actually design the way that we work as more like a sprint, right? So work intensely, could be 40, 45 minutes, 50 minutes.
Yes.
Break. Then do another 45-minute break, right? That's how I recommend you to schedule your time. We're not designed to work 5-6 hours straight, no break.
Yep.
You know your productivity, right? You're not very productive after a few hours because we are not designed. That's why we lose focus and you kind of see the stuff blurry in front of you.
Yeah.
You're not as sharp, you're not as clear.
Rule number 4, have a purpose.
Why Elon Musk? Why Jack Ma? Why Warren Buffett? Why Bill Gates? Why all of them still work? You look at the Forbes 500, the 500 richest people on the planet. Guess what? They all still work. Most of them still work. Why? They don't need the money, right? This is a poor person's question. I'll tell you why. Because you don't know what retirement is like. When I retired at age 27, I was bored out of my mind. See, most people who have the employee mentality, because they hate what they do. They don't like what they do. So they have this fantasy, they want to get to a point where I don't have to work anymore. I don't need to go to work, right? They'll be sitting on a beach, being a beach bum or something all day, right? And they think that's my ultimate dream because that's how they've been fantasizing this whole thing. When the wealthiest people on the planet, they have retired. They have retired not from something, not doing nothing, but they have retired to their businesses, what they are passionate about, what they love to do. They wake up every morning, there's a purpose, there's a sense of purpose. There is something that they look forward to. Versus most people, there's nothing they look forward to. They don't like what they do. They're not good at what they do, right? When you have actually experienced it, you probably have not experienced it, but if you have experienced it, then you know that retirement is not what it's all cracked up to be. It's boring. And if you look at a lot of studies, a lot of people who retired at age 65 when they got nothing to do, guess what? They are bored, and shortly after that, they die. Because there's no purpose. As a human being, we need to grow.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, check out my 254 series. It's free. The link to join is in the description below.
Remember this, your business is always a reflection of you.
After you practice martial art, you develop this natural self-confidence. Not cockiness, but you develop this natural self-confidence.
That's a problem with young people. You're not good at anything. Oh, I'm so good. No, tell me the truth. You're not good at anything.
Rule number 5, learn how to multiply money.
Money secret number 5, and that is money moves to those who know how to multiply. I want you to look at the richest people in the world. Some of the richest people in the world, they are money managers. They are investors. Now, why do people throw money at them? Because they know how to multiply money. They know how to generate good returns for their investors. It's very simple. Once you know how to multiply money, you don't have to chase money. Money chases you. I remember back then when I was a teenager, when I was asking the bank to give me a credit card for $1,000, and they wouldn't give that to me. Why? Because back then, I didn't know how money works. I didn't know how to multiply money, right? They wouldn't even give me a credit card, a limit of $1,000. And now the banks call me and say, Mr. Lok, do you need a loan? Do you want to buy a building? Do you want to expand your business? We're more than happy to give you a huge line of credit, unsecured. Why? Because they know I know how to multiply money now.
Rule number 6, provide great customer service.
Recently, I was in Los Angeles and my team and I, we went out for dinner one night and we went to Korean Town. Now, Korean Town, there's a famous Korean barbecue place. So we reserved a table, we showed up. It's a very interesting experience I want to share with you because there are a couple key lessons, key customer service lessons from there. First of all, we showed up and we were waiting for almost half an hour because the place is packed. So I was getting a little impatient, right? A little like, what's going on, right? Because my time is valuable, right? Just waiting, and all of us, a dozen of us are waiting for the table. And so before going in, I know the place is good, but I was like,
man, I don't know. Just like so my expectation was like not so good. I don't know. I know the food is good, but I don't know how good the experience is gonna be, right? So before we were seated, we weren't in a very good mood, right? And so we wanted to sit together, but because they don't have a table of that size, we were forced to sit in 2 separate tables to separate. And Jenny was like, oh, this is no good. So starting out, I was already like, okay, the waiter, they're not getting any tips here. I don't care if the food is good, they're not getting any tips because the customer service is not that good. Now, however, once we were seated, then you have the waiter coming and explaining the different types of food that they have. Now, they serve meat, it's Korean barbecue. They have like different kinds of beef, so many different kinds, right? They barbecue, I don't know, like different parts of the beef and different kinds of beef. Very, very delicious. Now, I don't know if you know this, but when it comes to Korean restaurant, they give you a lot of free appetizers. So each one of us got like a lot of these small bowls of appetizers. So I'm like, okay, this is pretty good, right? So we ordered the food. The waiter actually came to our table and we have this like grill in front of us. And they would actually cook for us. They would cut up the meat and they would cook it and then they would serve us. I'm like, okay. Now, remember in the beginning, my expectation was here. You see, when it comes to customer service, a lot of that has to do with managing expectations. We were eating, it's great, it's awesome. Like, okay, this is like, it's better. And the waiter actually was taking the time to educate us on different types of meat that we can order. Like which one, oh, you wanna try this one, you wanna try that one. But then he did something very smart. And that's what I wanna share with you. Near about 2/3 of the way, so we ordered drinks and pops, and Desmond drinks his beer, right? If Desmond, you're watching this, right? And then it's good, we're having a great time, we were chatting, we're eating. And about 2/3 in the way, they were bringing us free drinks. They say, hey, you know what? They brought along a couple bottles of beer and they brought a lot of pops and drinks. Just boom, put a table on the house. Now you don't see this in an Asian restaurant a lot, just so you know. I'm like, this is smart. First of all, the drinks cost very little money compared to what we eat. We feel like, wow, this is very nice. We get free appetizers, now we have free drinks. But here's the thing, by the time we were almost done eating, even you give us more free drinks, we can't finish them anyway. So chances are, they'll take this back to the kitchen, right? So we're not consuming the free stuff, but the feeling was very good, right? And at the end, we actually end up tipping the waiters quite a bit, over tipping them. So customer service, what could you learn from this story? A few things. Number one, managing expectations. Number two is the little thing. It's a little thing that counts. When you have provide those the nice small gestures, right? The small little things, not the big things, that people remember you. People remember what you've done. You go that extra mile, right? And number three is educating your customers. Because I always believe an informed customer is a better customer. So imagine we're just eating the food, maybe we didn't order the type of meat that would taste good, but by educating us, okay, if you want this kind of texture, you want this kind of taste, you want marinated, not marinated, you want different parts of the beef, by educating us, then we're like, okay, this is nice, right? And how to properly eat the meat, right? Even, okay, you mix it with this sauce, this is what you do you dip in this, and this is how you eat, okay, it creates a better experience for us.
Rule number 7, spend your time and money wisely.
Young people, just like myself, when I was younger, we would spend time on playing video games, right? And you would spend a lot of time watching, following sports, right? Watching this game and that game. And before you know it, you're wasting a lot of time. Instead of using that time to improve yourself. Because when you're 20 years old, you don't think about 30, 40, 50 years, right? When you're 50, when you're 55. But I'm telling you, it feels like yesterday I was 21. And a blink of an eye, you're now 30. A blink of an eye, you're 40. Time passed by so fast. And you would wish that, hey, you know what, if I didn't waste their time doing all those stupid things. And I'm not saying don't play game. I mean, I've got a PS4 and Xbox, right? I play it from, I don't know, a couple times a month. You just don't want to do 3 hours of gaming every day. Unless you're a streamer, that's how you're making your money, then you know what? No problem with that.
I think it's mostly the mobile games too. That's what really gets you.
Yeah.
Mobile games, like, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here.
And especially those mobile games where you gotta buy more coins.
The microtransactions.
Oh, microtransactions.
You know it,
right? Where, hey, they hook you in with free game. Before you know it, you're spending hundreds of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
There was a game that I bought, which is the Chinese game, like a Three Kingdoms, like a strategy game, free download. Before you know it, I was blowing hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? It's stupid. Right? And that money is something that you could use towards educating yourself, not just formal education, but self-education, reading books, taking online courses, or even going to events or learning from someone who is successful.
Rule number 8, be prepared to go through rejections.
Let's say your closing ratio is 25%. It means that you close 1 out of 4. You're pretty darn good, right? A 25% closing ratio. And let's say you want to close 100 deals, 100 sales. What does that mean? It means that to get that 100 sales, to get 100 yeses, you need to get 300 no's. You will not get to that 100 yeses without the 300 no's. I remember in the beginning of my career, I was selling and closing my own services on the phone. And every single time when I get a no, I would be so disappointed with myself. I would be very frustrated, right? I would get very upset. I would get angry. Why couldn't I close that sale? Then I would beat myself up. I would have a lot of self-doubt. But you see, because I didn't understand what I'm sharing with you right now, you cannot get to those yeses without the no's. It is part of the game. That's why we do what we do. To get to those yeses, you must go through a lot of no's.
Rule number 9, be prepared to make sacrifices.
I believe everyone could be an entrepreneur, but not everyone should be an entrepreneur. Just like anyone can play basketball, anyone could grab a ball and shoot some hoops, but not everyone will make it to NBA. Because you see, most people, when they see someone who is successful, who is a successful entrepreneur, anyone can start, right? You can start a business, sole proprietorship, incorporate, a few $100, a couple grand, when you are in business. Anyone can change the Instagram and say, hey, now I'm the founder and the CEO of whatever my company is. Low barrier of entry. But the problem is, starting out as an entrepreneur doesn't mean you'll last as an entrepreneur. See, most people, when they see entrepreneurship, they think, hey man, it's like this. I'm flying private jet, I'm going to the destination, I'm enjoying life. Life is good. That's not what entrepreneurship is. In fact, let me ask you a question. Comment below for my fans who follow my work, who are business owners, that you have started your own business, especially retail business. Comment below. Share your story. What is it really like to be an entrepreneur? If I was to ask you the question, why you want to start your own business, you might say, hey, I want more freedom. I want more free time, right? I want to make more money. Here's what happens after you start your own business. Before you start your own business, you're working 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, a typical job. It's fine. After you become an entrepreneur, now you're not working 5 days a week. You're not working 6 days a week. You're working 7 days a week. You're not working 8 hours a day. You're not working 10 hours a day. You're working 12, 14 hours a day. Making less money with a lot more stress and probably a lot more debt. Tell me this is not true, right? And you think it's gonna take you, oh, I'm gonna be successful in 1 year. You think it will take you 1 year. Turns out even after you're successful, it took you 5, 10, 15, 20 years. This is the glamour side. No one talks about the dark side, right? You've heard those statistics. 95% of small business fail in the first 5 years, right? Some people say 96%. The 5% that survives, it doesn't mean they're like thriving, they're just surviving. And big majority of that 5%, most of them don't make it. So you have to understand what you're getting yourself into.
Rule number 10, have fun.
Hi, Mr. Prospect. Hi, Mr. Prospect. How are you today, sir? Hey, Mr. Prospect. How are you today, sir? Okay. No sweaty palms. Oh my God, mouth stinks. Yes, 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 I can do it. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. I am a champion. I am a champion. Do-do, do-do-do. Okay.
Rule number 11, change your environment.
Recently, one of my fish passed away and died. So I had the fish tank expert came into my house and I asked him, what happened? How come my fish died? And he said, well, one of the fish is sick. And chances are there might be a few other fish that might be sick as well. And I was freaking out. I'm like, so what should I do? How do I fix this? How do I treat the fish? Do I give them like some medicine? Do I take them out and inject some needle? I have no idea how this works, right? He said, Dan, if a fish is sick, you don't treat the fish, you treat the water. See, today I want to share a very profound lesson with you. The number one enemy that is holding you back from success, and that is you don't treat the fish, you treat the water. If you want to change, you want to improve your life, the first thing you have to be aware of is your surrounding. Who do you surround yourself with? That's your water. You are the fish. You see, most people, when they attempt to make an improvement, they want to change their lives. They want to increase their income. They want to make more money. They want to be happier. But they want to change all of that without changing their environment. It's virtually impossible. You're setting yourself up for failure because if you want to change, but the environment is toxic, the people you hang around, they're negative. The people around you, they don't believe in you. Or the workplace that you're working at, it's not suitable for your long-term goal. It's not where you want to be. Well, how are you going to get out of that? So the first thing you have to consider is your environment, your surrounding. Not just physically, but also mentally, meaning the place you work, your home office, the friends around you, who you spend time with. Now, does that mean, you may be asking me, Dan, does that mean that you asked me to move? What if I'm in a third world country? I do know a lot of my fans, they are from all over the world at this point, that you may be from different countries. So am I asking you to move? Yes, most likely, yes. Oh, but then I can't move. You need to find a way. You need to get out of the environment. If you want to be successful, you first need to put yourself in a position to do so. You want to win. If you want to win a game, first, you need to at least enter the game.
Rule number 12, activate the law of attraction.
Have you seen the movie The Secret, or have you read the book The Secret? Now, maybe you have heard of the law of attraction and you wonder exactly what it is, and you wonder, does this actually work? Does the law of attraction work? You see, believe it or not, law of attraction is not some complicated magical ritual or some mysterious ancient secret. It's actually very, very simple. I want you to think of like gravity. It's an unchanging law of the universe, gravity. When I throw something in the air, it will drop to the ground. When you jump off a building, you will hit the ground. That's the law of gravity. You see, law of attraction is no different. It is simply the ability to attract into our lives whatever we are focusing on. In basic terms, all thoughts turn into things eventually, and what you focus on expands, just like gravity. To understand law of attraction, first you have to understand this, that you always attract into your life the people, the things, the resources, the ideas in harmony with your dominant thoughts. It means that you always attract people into your life in harmony with your current experience, knowledge, and wisdom. It means that your life only gets better when you get better. It means that as a salesperson, if you want to increase more sales, you want to close more deals, and you want to increase your income, you will only do that if you become better. You want to become a better manager, you will only become a better manager if you become better. You only become a better father only if you become better. Now, one time we were at the penthouse and it was raining outside, heavy rain. I was looking over the windows and I was looking out there. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, look at the dark cloud. Look at the pouring rain, like so depressing. And then Jenny walks by and she's looking at the windows and she's like, oh, it's so romantic. I'm like, romantic? Like, what are you talking about? Look at this. This is bad. Like, we can't go out. This is like pouring rain, damn Vancouver, right? She's like, no, look at the mountains. Look at those, like, look at that. Look at the light. And this is so romantic. I'm like, are you and I looking at the same thing? What is going on here? Well, we are looking at the same thing. The difference is that she saw beauty and I saw dark cloud. It is the same scenario. See, what you focus on expands. It's like the filter I was talking about. Most people attempt to change their lives with more information without upgrading your filter. Jenny and I, we have a different filter. You see, you have to realize this, that it is not what happens to you, but how you think about what happens to you that determines how you react and how you feel. It is not the world outside of you that dictates your circumstances or your conditions. It is the world inside of you that creates the conditions of your life. So you could choose, do you want to give it attention or do you not want to give it attention? When you go home, when you complain about your work, when you complain about your business, guess what? You go home, you complain to your spouse, oh my God, the job is so bad, it's horrible. You are reliving that experience. You're giving it energy. Your brother-in-law, your brother, your sister calls you and you, oh man, let me tell you about how horrible work is today. You reliving that again, you are giving it energy. Yes, it has already happened, but you can choose if you want to give energy to it. And that's how you activate the law of attraction. The more you give energy to something, the more you attract those things and those circumstances into your life.
Rule number 13, work smart.
I never want to project my values on you. How you live your life is up to you, right? I paid a price early. I made a lot of sacrifices. And money is not everything. Money is never everything, but money is important. It gives you more choices. So most people, they work hard their entire lives and they have nothing to show for. You work very hard. Comment below, right? You work hard. You cannot go on that vacation. You are in debt. You want to buy something for your family. You want to send your kids to college. You want to just live in a nicer hotel when you travel, and you cannot even do that. Do you work hard? You work hard. I work hard. I always believe that if I'm going to be working hard anyway, I might as well work hard to be financially successful. I want to know that I'm working hard, but I'm also working smart, right? I want to constantly upgrade my skill sets so I can deliver more value to the marketplace and not just saying, oh man, Dan, you work very hard. You know what, that 5 years, yes, I was working my face off. My friends, partying, drinking, chasing girls, all this bullshit. Guess where all my friends are now? They're fucking broke. They can't get a job. They're still stuck. They have no choices. They're in debt. They have no freedom. Looking back, I'm glad that I paid that price early. I'm glad I was working that 12, 14 hours a day, 5 years straight. No rest. Because I did that, I did what most people were not willing to do, what you are not willing to do. So now, I could live a life that most people could never dream of. That's the difference. So you have to make a choice. By the way, you're already making a choice every day. You're making a choice right now. How you invest your time, how you spend your time. Before you know it, 5 years is gone. It goes by like that. 10 years is gone. 15 years is gone, 20 years is gone. You're sitting in your living room, you're watching TV, you're looking yourself in the mirror and you say, where the hell did my time go?
Rule number 14, be patient.
I want you to think about in any area in life, it could be sports, it could be learning a language, it could be learning anything new. Mastery takes time. It takes years to achieve mastery. Now, you could learn a skill in a relatively short period of time, but to accomplish mastery, it takes years. Anyone who has achieved mastery, it takes years. See, the question itself it tells me that that the way that you're thinking about it is, where's the shortcut? How can I take the shortcut? And sometimes there are smarter ways to do something. There are some shortcuts, but it takes time, it takes effort, it takes patience, and it takes repetition to accomplish, to achieve mastery, right? And I believe the best way to do that is have a mentor. You think about how skills are passed along, how skills are passed down. I like to take a martial art example. If you want to learn, let's say you want to learn Kung Fu, you want to learn karate, you want to learn Taekwondo, you want to learn boxing, right? That the best way to learn is not just practice on your own, but to actually practice with other people, but having a mentor, having a coach, having an instructor to show you the ropes, to say, hey, here's the fundamental, here's what you need to do, here's how you do it right, here's the move. Once he or she coaches you and gives you feedback, and you go out there and you practice this, you do your own thing, right? And then come back to the dojo and you learn some more, right? And that's how you get good. And how to get a black belt, when you do it enough, when you do the same punch again and again and again, thousands of times, same kick thousands of times, and that's how you get to mastery, right? So it takes years, it takes repetition. That's why most people don't achieve mastery. That there are very few true masters in the world in anything, because most people are not willing to put in the work. They say, hey, how can I get there in 6 months? How could I get there in 1 year? When most of the time it takes decades.
Rule number 15, learn to become grateful.
When I was younger, I actually didn't understand the word gratitude. I didn't even use the word. It wasn't in my day-to-day vocabulary. And definitely, if it's not in my vocabulary, I'm not experiencing gratitude. I don't know what it means to be grateful. I understand like happiness and being such an achiever and a kind of type A personality. I was achieving and I was striving, and I didn't understand, no matter how much I've accomplished, no matter how much I have achieved, there's always this satisfaction that is never enough. Comment below if you know what I'm talking about. You set a goal, maybe in school you want to get to certain grades, right? You want to get A, and you get A, and you want to be, the top student in your class, and you do that. You want to be the top athlete and whatever sports that you play, and you do that, and you get there, and somehow just this kind of a dissatisfaction, almost like an emptiness inside. And I didn't know that we actually need to learn to be grateful. It's until much later part of my life that I learned, hey, you know what? Gratitude is actually an emotion that most people don't experience. It's something a lot of people crave for. Now, although they might think they want to just be happy, and happiness is important, but I think most people actually they're craving for gratitude. It is a deep sense of joy that's unlike any feelings that you experience. And it's something that you have to work on. Unfortunately, most people, they don't experience gratitude naturally. Most people are a little bit negative. Think about the people around you, right? They are usually complaining, bitching about whatever that they are complaining about. And they don't appreciate, and they're not grateful for what they already have. And I'm not saying that you don't strive for more, but what I'm saying is we need to learn how to be grateful and appreciate what we have today.
Rule number 16, do the opposite.
Most people, they live a life of mediocrity, meaning that most people actually don't know what they're doing. So if you don't have a positive role model in your life, guess what you could do? Just look at what other people are doing in your industry. Let's say you're in sales. Look at what most salespeople do, and then what do? You do the opposite. So find out what they're doing right now, observe their behaviors, and then do the opposite. Let's say you're working in a car dealership right now, hypothetically, and you look at what most people do in a car dealership. Maybe they spend a lot of time chit-chatting near the water cooler, right? Or they gossip a lot, or they come across too salesy and use a lot of techniques and really stupid, outdated techniques to manipulate the customer. Well, guess what? Look at those, study those, and then you do the opposite. If you just do that, you will stand out. The way they talk a certain way, do the opposite. The way they greet a customer this way, you do the opposite. The way they treat customer this way, you do the opposite.
Rule number 17, take responsibility.
Very first key, the very first thing you have to understand about success is, number one, you need to take personal responsibility. You notice if you've watched a lot of my other videos, now I have over 1,000 videos on YouTube, the core theme, the core message, the key thing that I'm always emphasizing is taking 100 responsibility for your own life. That if there's something wrong, it is my fault. If I'm not having the success that I want, it is my fault. If I am not making the income that I want, it is my fault. If my life is not fulfilled, it is my fault. If I'm not living up to my potential, it is my fault. It is only when you take back the responsibility, when you own it, it is only when you could do that you could have and unleash the power to change and to pivot. Which you think about most people, they point fingers, right? When you point a finger, one finger points to other people, 3 fingers are pointing to yourself. And that's the most difficult thing. So if you want more success, you don't want more responsibilities. It's the other way around. You're not gonna have more success if you don't have a lot of responsibilities.
Rule number 18, use adversity to your strength.
One of the worst thing, but also the greatest thing that ever happened to me is when I was 16, my mom and dad got divorced, and when I was 17, my dad went bankrupt. If my dad didn't go bankrupt, because I have allowance coming in, I wasn't thinking about money, wasn't thinking about becoming successful. But because of that happened, it forced me to do that. Not pleasant, right? I don't recommend it for everybody, but it was one of the greatest things that ever happened. That was a turning point for me.
It's like that adversity that helps you.
Yeah.
Rule number 19, believe in what you do.
I believe that when you truly believe in what you do, it is your job to get it out there. It is your duty, it's your obligation to put yourself out there, to push your brand, to push your product out there, right? I'm gonna sell them something that they don't even know that they need. And by the time I am done, they're gonna say, thank you. That's the conviction I have. I have no problem. I'm constantly promoting, I'm constantly pushing, I'm constantly closing every single day because I believe in what I do. The question is, do you believe in what you do?
Rule number 20, make sacrifices.
Most people, they do not succeed in their late 20s. If you say research by meaning like you see people on Instagram or on Facebook and they succeed in the late 20s, that's not research, that's you're guessing. And that's what they want you to see. The people that I study, the truly successful people, most of them succeed by the late 40s, in some cases late 50s, not late 20s. The successful entrepreneurs that I know that I've had the privilege of sitting down and interviewing through my Dan Lok show, maybe you already know that on my podcast, that I interview heavy hitters, billionaires and multi-millionaires, and I sit down with them, I interview them, and I pick their brains, right? I bring you the best insights. Most entrepreneurs, they don't succeed. They don't succeed in years. They succeed in decades. Decades. And people see that as, oh, it is an overnight success. It's not an overnight success, right? Like people see what I do. Oh, I'm an overnight success. Give me a break, right? It's like a 10-year overnight success. The sacrifice you have to make, the price that you have to pay, no one talks about it. You only see the fruit of the labor. You see the glam, you see the glitz, you see the glory. You don't see the blood, sweat, and tears, the nights that you couldn't sleep, the vendors that are calling you, the payroll that you couldn't make, the debt that you got into, the sale you couldn't close, the failures that you have, the bad business partnership, the lawsuits that you have, all this BS, right? That's the price, but most people don't see a lot of that.
Rule number 21, create peak productivity.
Create a peak productivity environment. This is This is probably one of my biggest secrets. Create an environment that works for you, not against you, right? So make certain your environment works for you instead of against you. For some, your environment, your work environment is not designed for peak productivity. Sometimes I get this question, does that mean I have to have a super organized desk? Does that mean it's peak productivity? Not necessarily. You see, like scientists and like very inventive people, you go to the office, this is like a freaking mess.
It's like organized.
It's like organized chaos.
Chaos,
right?
yeah.
That's what works best for them. You have to find what works for you. But when I'm talking about environment, that I think one of the most important concepts I teach all my students, I'm going to teach that to you now, is the concept of the wealth triggers. Wealth triggers, meaning having items, having objects, having artifacts around you in your environment, because both your conscious and subconscious minds respond to all sorts of things, stimuli, right? Introducing like objects, including objects around us. So I want to have things that would help me to create better performance.
Rule number 22, look within.
What was the biggest challenge when I was starting out as an entrepreneur? I was getting into all these businesses and trying to kind of get rich quick, trying to make money quickly. How can I make some fast money? And I was always looking for external factors. That is this opportunity, is that business, or is that relationship that is going to make me successful, that is going to help me to build a successful business. And when I was looking for external factor to help me become successful, I was never successful. I believe to become successful, to build a good business, you always need to look within. You need to think of, you always have to be a part of the equation, that you have to take responsibility. And at the time, just like most people, I was pointing fingers, I was blaming everybody else for my failures. It's the economy, it's the customers, it's my competition, it's this, and it's always somebody else's fault except mine. Until I made that switch, once I figure out that business is actually about a few things, a few key things, such as selling a product, selling a service in exchange of money. It's what commerce is all about.
Rule number 23, walk your own path.
I think one of the things that I teach all my students, all my fans, is learn from other people, but at the same time, you need to walk your own path. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to be someone that you're not, but instead, and that's one thing I always emphasize, is don't copy, learn from other people, learn the principles, right? Listen to them and observe their experience and wisdom, but be the best version of yourself, be the best that you could be, right? Because if you try to be Dan Lok, you'll fail 100% of the time. If I try to be you, I will fail 100% of the time, right? But if you be the best version of yourself and you strive to be better every single day, just make small little improvement, you do well. You do well because no one could copy that. No one could take that away, and you are unique and you are special. I believe you are born, we are all born with certain gifts and certain talents. Then it's your job, it's our job to recognize what those talents are and to maximize them, to live our full potential.
Rule number 24, be ethical.
You see, most people, they believe that in order to become wealthy, in order to make money, you have to lie, cheat, and steal. That you have to do something unethical in order to make money. You see, unless you are making money through illegal ways, maybe you're selling drugs, you're doing something that's criminal, the only way to have long-term success, to build long-term wealth, is to be ethical. Think about it. Nowadays, with consumers so smart and have so many choices, when there's so much information out there, that if your product or service, if you're not adding value, you're not adding real value to people's lives, you're not going to have long-term success, because your reputation, it would destroy you. A lot of time we build relationships, we do business and it's based on your ethics and based on your reputation. You're not gonna have long-term success if you're not ethical. But see, that's what people want to believe, that, oh, if you're making a lot of money, you must be doing something wrong, you must be ripping off people, that you must be taking advantage of people. That is an idea that is planted by other people. It is simply not true. Over the years, I have met a lot of people, okay? The ones who are unethical, most of the time, not all the time, but the ones that are unethical, the ones that actually rip people off, they are the ones who don't have a lot of money. The ones who are actually generous, the one who have integrity, the one who deliver on what they promise, guess who they are? They are the wealthy people. That's how they get wealthy. Money earned is always a byproduct of value creation.
Rule number 25, be a problem solver.
I say many times, entrepreneurs, we are nothing more than a problem solver, right? As an entrepreneur, we solve people's problems at a profit. That's what we do as an entrepreneur. And once I recognized that, then things became more clear for me that, okay, in order to do that, I need to have more capabilities. I need to have more skill sets. I need to be better. I need to develop some fundamental business skills. Because most people, they get into business without actually knowing business. They don't know how business works. They have no business acumen. They have no help from any way. They have no idea what it takes. And they actually don't even know a whole lot about the industry that they're getting into most of the time. Of course, you've heard of the statistics that most businesses, some say 95%, some say 90% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years. Of course, when you don't know what you're doing, then chances of you failing is very, very high.
Rule number 26, don't fear failure.
But you think about fear of failure, what it really is an illusion. It doesn't exist. Because even if you fail at something, you still learn something from it. Right? No one could take that experience away from you. So a lot of that is this mental bullshit that we have, that we are so afraid, oh, I don't know, what if it doesn't work, right? That's not a very empowering question, right? What if I don't know, how would people think of me, right? What if I lose money, right? What if my business doesn't take off? Like a lot of what ifs, and the reality is most of those things don't actually happen. It's this programming, this belief that we have, that we don't believe that it's gonna work. And guess what? If you don't believe it's gonna work, what happens? It doesn't work.
Rule number 27, be a great leader.
What would you say is the biggest key to building a strong sense of community and just like a team aspect?
Or like
For your business. Yeah, like a community. Or culture.
give a damn.
Yeah.
Give a damn about your business. I think most entrepreneurs, they're too self-centered. They're too like me. Because sometimes that's what got them to entrepreneurship. And that's who I was like before. But you have the team, the culture, the community. You gotta give a. You put them ahead of your own self-interest. So it's like the good book, I think from the writer, Leaders Eat Last. That's what it is. Because it's like, have you ever watched Mel Gibson, We Were Soldiers?
No.
There was a scene when he's coming down the helicopter. He's the first one that stepped on the battlefield. He was the last one to leave. It's that kind of mentality. And you have to give it. And you cannot fake it. You cannot pretend. You cannot say it. It's what you do.
Rule number 28, learn how to close.
The number one skill that you need as an entrepreneur, it is the ability to close. It is the ability to communicate your idea, your people skill, your communication skill, because that's what you do all day. When you're talking to customers, you're closing, you are selling, right? When you're talking to a vendor, you're communicating your idea, you are closing. When you are talking to your employees, you are closing, you're selling them your vision. You're closing 24/7. So having that skill set, I believe, is very, very critical. And that's one of the things I train so many entrepreneurs around the world on, this particular skill set, on how do you close? How do you communicate your ideas? How do you take what's in here and communicate in such a way that people would understand, that you could simplify your message. It doesn't matter what business you want to get into. I believe that is the number one skill.
Rule number 29, build a good culture.
As I was talking with different, even CEOs through the show, any company that's any size, all they talk about, culture. That's all they talk about. Culture. CEO of $1 billion company, culture. $500 million company, culture. That's all the culture is the number one. Not system, not management, culture. Culture eats, write this down, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Because when you have the right culture, your people will perform, they will come up with the right strategy. Yes? When you have the right culture, solutions, you can pivot, you can change, that's okay.
Rule number 30, connect with your audience.
As a platform closer, as a speaker, you need to learn how to use your body language, right? How to move around, how to use that to create energy, to create emotions. Doesn't matter how good your script is, your speech is, if you cannot move, right, touch the audience emotionally, no one's gonna do anything. No one's gonna buy, they're not gonna take the next step, they're not gonna do anything. Yes? You need to and the best way is connection. I can tell you right now, you just connect. You connect with the audience. They can help because they can feel it. When you connect with them, you're talking to them. You're talking to them. Very, very important. And sometimes when you want to connect with people, they don't want to connect with you. That's okay. You keep trying. You keep trying. Because when you keep trying, they would see it. They would say, oh, just like how when you're doing the exercise, yes. When you're doing the exercise, how when your partner maybe doesn't want to connect with you, but you want to connect, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Right? It takes a few seconds, of 1 minute, 2 minutes to go into it. But once you can do that, you need to learn how to do that. Because once you made a connection, everything that you say now is going through. Right? People, like the old saying, people don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care, right? Once they know you care, then whatever you're saying is going through.
Rule number 31, manage yourself first.
Manage yourself. What does it mean? What the heck does it mean to manage yourself? It means manage your emotions, manage your state, manage your skills, become the best version of yourself that you could be. You can't even do that. How are you going to manage your family? If you cannot become the best version of yourself, how are you going to become the best dad that you could be, the best mom, the best husband, the best wife? You can't. You have to learn to manage yourself first. Problem is, you've never been taught on how to do that. Because your whole life, listen to me, your whole life, most people have such low expectations for you. They don't expect much out of you. So then guess what? You don't have much expectations for yourself. Most people grew up with low self-esteem because your parents never gave you self-esteem. I don't mean the, oh yeah, you do a good job, yeah. You know, it's okay, you're not first. It's okay to be the ninth place, you try your best. I don't mean that bullshit. I mean, they don't have very high standards for you. They are setting you up for failure. They're teaching you how to settle to be average, how to settle for less. It's okay. Don't stand out. Don't make noise. Just get a safe, secure job. Be content. Why are you so ambitious? Why can't you be your sister? Why can't you be like your cousin? All this bullshit. Manage yourself. Then you can manage your family. Then you can build an empire. Now you're leading a lot of people. Only when you can do that, then you can conquer the world.
Rule number 32, apply the straight line theory.
Now in Wing Chun, the first thing I want to share with you is, in Wing Chun we talk about the strict line theory, right? And that's why our go-to punch in Wing Chun is the strict blast. And what it means is, when you're facing an opponent, and the opponent doesn't have to be a person, it could be a scenario, an obstacle in life, right? Instead of going a curve like a hook punch or like a big round punch, right? We want to see what is the closest distance from A to B, right? What is the most efficient to get something done? So in Wing Chun, we don't punch this way, we don't punch this way, we don't punch this way, it's straight line, right? And the second punch, that when we punch, we don't pull back and say like a karate punch, right? You hit and you come back, right? Wing Chun is much more like a machine gun, right? Just like a machine. If we do this, right, punch, right, it's much more like this, right? When we practice it, we're doing a drill of some sort, right? So it's a strict line. So it's a strict line. You can see that. So the strict line theory in business, I believe, is the same thing. When we're looking for solution, sometimes we make it way more complicated than it needs to be. Sometimes the solution is so obvious right in front of us. And hey, just go from this to this. Oh, but what about this? What about it doesn't work? What about it works too well? And what if we fail? And what if, no, just boom, right? Just do that. And you get to your results.
Rule number 33, develop your gifts.
I was never, ever, ever a gifted speaker. Don't you get it? I shaped myself, I trained, I worked hard, I molded myself into the speaker that I am today, into the entrepreneur that I am today. Do you understand? Most of young kids, you are waiting, you are thinking, oh, you know, what is my gift? It's not about finding your gifts. It's about developing your gifts. It's like working out. Well, I guess I'll wait to find out what body part is the strongest. It is the dumbest thing. You gotta work for it. You gotta train. You gotta develop those gifts. Gifts don't just fall on your lap and say, okay, great, you're gifted. Now, maybe you are more talented in certain areas, or you learn things faster than most with certain things. Maybe music, maybe mathematics, maybe problem solving, maybe creativity, but you still have to develop those damn gifts. And it takes years to develop any kind of gifts. The problem is you're waiting and waiting and waiting instead of getting to work. Pick something, anything. If it doesn't work, you can pivot. You try enough things, you will know, oh, an idiot would know that, hey, I'm naturally better at this. I learn faster than most doing this. It clicks for me. What comes easy for you may be difficult for others. That's when you know, okay, maybe this is an area I need to focus on. It will still take you years to be world-class at something, even though you're naturally talented in certain things. And there's no one that is gifted in everything. You have to pick and choose. In life, it's all about choices. You got to pick and choose what do you want to focus on. You can spend your whole life focusing on something, but does this thing or this skill set gives you what you want? Does this skill set, if master, could give you the life that you want, would give you the lifestyle that you want, will help you accomplish your dreams? And for most, the answer is no. The answer is no. So forget about finding that gift. Watching too many videos and not taking enough action. Watching videos are fine, but at the end of the day, you have to take action. You have to go to the gym. You have to pick up certain skill. You have to do something. You learn by doing, not just by watching. You do not learn just by watching. When you do something, you internalize it. It becomes yours.
Rule number 34, find your drive.
Did I tell you the story why I was obsessed with learning one-on-one closing? Did I tell you that story? Anybody know that story? No. Okay. Tell us. Okay. So I was doing copywriting, right? So there was this particular prospect called me on the phone through my website, found my work, we booked a time. And at the time I didn't know, so I called him, right? Not him calling me, not inbound, I called him. And he was asking me about my copywriting service, how much I charge. I was explaining, here's what I do and all this stuff. And then about a few minutes into the call, he was saying, stop! Right? Stop. I said, what? Yeah, stop. He said, in the 5-minute conversation, you made multiple grammatical errors. And you speak with a very thick accent. I can't understand what the hell you're saying. You cannot be good at what you do. I think you're scamming me. And he hung up. That was the first time I felt hurt. Like even in high school, the bully, all that's physical. But this is like a spear. Because I was conscious. I know I speak with an accent. I know I'm an immigrant. Right? I was nervous enough trying to make a living, provide for my mom. But that was like, that was an arrow through my heart. That's when I made a decision, right, to say, I'm going to learn this thing. And also why the part of the challenge, remember I was doing internet marketing, doing the workshop, why I want to master platform closing. Partially, maybe the Ruby in me, maybe it is to prove something. But back then, I have this fantasy, that this guy who hung up on me someday would see my
name. Or come to one of my workshops and say, yeah, that is you. But I will thank him. I will thank him because he gave me that drive, right?
Rule number 35, focus on the outcome.
Now in Wing Chun, we have a lot of trapping techniques, right? Trapping techniques, meaning, let's say I throw a punch to Peter. So here, I have an obstacle. So from here, I see the straight line, say, okay, I'm gonna hit Peter in the chin here, but boom, I have an obstacle. But what happens in life, we get so attached to this. Then we're like, oh, we're fighting over this, like, I wanna fight over this. This obstacle, we always focus on the process, but we no longer focus on the outcome. The outcome is not the hand. The focus is here. These are the branches. We always want to focus on the trees, right? So in Wing Chun, in Chinese, we talk about 追形不追手, means we chase the main, the figure, not the hands. We only do trapping when there's an obstacle. So when there's an obstacle, we can trap and we can hit. Right? So we are not thinking about the hand. It's just, I try to hit, there's an obstacle, then I can trap and I can punch. Right? So I focus on the outcome. We don't lose sight of the outcome.
Rule number 36, stay away from poor people.
One of the things I say again and again, and that is don't hang around with poor people. And some people take it the wrong way. Oh, Dan, are you saying you only judge people's character by how much money they have? That's not what I'm saying. Because people without money, that's just one form of poor. There are many, many forms of poor. Do you know people who walk around all day, they just look defeated, right? They are saying to you, why bother trying? They have lost hope. Maybe they've been burned before. They have failed before. They made mistakes before, but now they've all given up. They're saying to you all the time, oh, it can't be done. It's impossible. Hey, don't even try that. I tried that before. You see, just because they can't do something, now they're selling you. They're telling you why you cannot do it either. They are poor in spirit.
Rule number 37, be strategic.
Should you quit your job? I know what it's like when you're working at a job that you have zero interest in, you're not passionate about, and you're working with a group of people that you can't stand. It's all toxic in an environment, and you feel like you're not growing and you're not getting paid what you deserve. I remember when I was making minimum wage in a supermarket that I hated to go to work. Hated every single day. I'm like, oh my God, my alarm clock. Now I gotta go. I gotta, be stuck in at the time a bus, right? And then the train, SkyTrain, and then go to work and every day back and forth. And I couldn't stand it. So I know maybe you're thinking about, should you quit? Should you not quit and do your own thing and start your own business? Now, this is speaking from experience, and I hope this will help you. Now, some people, and this is what I did, and I don't recommend it, they just quit the job. One day I was working, I walked in, I say F you to the boss, and I just walked out. I do not recommend that because afterwards I got myself into a lot of trouble because I was desperate. That's not an ideal situation. Now, for some people, they excel when they are back in the corner and they are under a lot of pressure. That's a very, very small percentage of the population. Chances are, that's probably not you. For most people, it's the opposite. They crack under pressure. They melt under pressure. Right now, they're not making wise decisions. Now they're panicking because, oh my God, I'm gonna pay my bills next month. Not a very good idea. So my recommendation to most of my fans and students around the world is very, very simple. Follow this formula. You quit your job, two conditions. One is your side hustle, your side business, your little side income model, whatever it is that you do. It could be high income skill that I teach. When you are making twice as much from that compared to your job, you could quit. So let's say you're making $3,000 a month from your job, your high income skill, your side hustle now is providing you with $6,000 a month. That gives you some safety net, some comfort, and say, you know what, now I could quit comfortably. Because you know if you can generate that kind of income compared to what you're earning right now from your job, twice as much, part-time. What could you do if you do this full-time? If you focus 100% into that business, into that skill, right? Make sense? You would do a lot more. you know you could take that and you can double that to 10,000, 12,000 if you are fully going in and fully dedicated to that one thing.
Rule number 38, get a mentor.
Is it okay to have no mentor? Jesus Christ. You don't need to have anything. You don't need to have a mentor. You don't need anything. Question is it working in your life? Is it working for you? Where are you at? Are you successful? Are you happy? If that's the case, keep doing what you're doing. You don't need anything. Do it yourself. A mentor's job is to help you become who you say you want to become, making you do things that you don't want to do, so you could become who you say you want to be. Someone who holds you accountable. Most of you guys watching this got no accountability ever from anybody. That's the problem. You don't need to get a mentor. I am saying is, I am where I am today because of my mentors. Because I learned from somebody. It's just like you don't need to drive, you can walk. It just takes a lot longer. Could you walk? Of course you could walk. It's your choice. Most people, they ask these stupid questions because they want to be right. They want to say, oh yeah, my point is, what about this? Well, what if I don't want to wear a suit? What if I want to do it on my own? What if you don't need, you can do whatever. You can jump off a building. Who cares? You can do whatever the hell you want. Get a mentor if you want to be successful. Find someone who's been there and done that are willing to mentor you, which most people probably are not willing to mentor you because it's a waste of time. Who are willing to mentor you. Then you learn from that person and be humble. Stop this bullshit of, what about my point of view? Full opinions. Is it working? Do you have results? Or are you still living in the basement with your mom? That's the problem.
Rule number 39, love yourself.
Most of us, I believe, don't love ourselves enough. Now, I don't mean arrogance, self-arrogance. I'm talking about self-love. Because growing up, we don't get enough love from other people. For most of us, there's a guy that I used to know who had experienced multiple breakups, and to a point where now he doesn't trust relationships anymore. He doesn't trust women anymore because he doesn't want to get hurt. And I believe hurt people. And you could see on his face when I look at him, he doesn't smile. There's no joy. There's no life, right? Think about it. If you have given a choice, if you could have $1 million for the rest of your life, you have $1 million, but in exchange, you could no longer have intimacy. You can no longer have relationship with anybody else. You can no longer love. In exchange of $1 million, would you take it? Comment below. You wouldn't, because life without love means very, very little. And how could you give love? You cannot give something that you don't have. So how could you give love if you don't have love yourself? How can you love others if you don't love yourself?
Rule number 40, embrace overwhelm.
If you're overwhelmed, if you're confused, if you're stressed, take a deep breath. I know in the moment, it may feel like you have too much on your plate. It may feel like you want to scream, and it may feel like there's no way out. But here's what I want you to do. Take another deep breath and celebrate. Because what you are experiencing is human. What you're experiencing means you're alive. What you are experiencing means you are growing. The ones who don't experience overwhelm are not growing. The ones who don't experience confusion are not learning. The ones who don't get stressed are not pushing. So don't shrink away from overwhelm, embrace it. Don't be scared of confusion, welcome it. Don't collapse under stress, thrive from it. You see, life is not about having all the answers all the time. Life is about being okay with not knowing the answer while doing everything in your power to find out what the answer is. And remember, you don't have to solve it all at once. Overwhelm happens when you think you have to figure out everything at once, but you don't. All you need to do is to take it one step at a time. Even if it's just one step at a time. Taking that step forward will give you the power to keep going. Because when you sit still, fear is created. But when you move, clarity emerges.
step by step, mile by mile, inch by inch. That's how you get to where you want to go. That's how you get to the life that you deserve.
Rule number 41, stop seeking validation.
You talk about you want to be more successful. In the meantime, you spend 3 hours on Netflix, you spend 4 hours playing around and playing video games and doing all this shit. If I was your mom, I was your dad, I'm not going to believe you because your actions don't match with your words. Your actions don't match your ambition. If you don't believe in what you do so strongly, you don't get obsessed with your vision, no one's going to believe you. And don't expect anyone to believe you. They're not supposed to believe you because you've got no track record. You haven't done shit. It's normal they don't believe you. And guess what? Even though when you're successful, they still don't believe you, right? Even as successful as I am today, I still have people that don't believe me. So forget it. Forget trying to seek validation from other people and say, oh, you know what? If they believe in you, do you know? Some people will do, some people won't. And who people believe you, they follow what you do, great. Build something great with those people. The ones who don't believe you, that's okay, who cares, right? Who cares? I don't know the surefire way to success, but the surefire way to failure is try to please everybody. So don't be a pleaser, forget about that. Focus on what you do.
Rule number 42, choose skills over a degree.
You need to think about, okay, maybe it's not just a degree, that piece of paper. Skills are more important. Nowadays, companies are looking for skills. They hire skills, not just that piece of paper, that degree. They know that it's not enough. That is like a lot of time. Just because you have a degree, it doesn't mean you have common sense, and it doesn't mean you have skills. See, degree only means that you know something. You passed these exams, right? You have done these courses. That's all it means. Skills, on the other hand, means not just you know something, it means you could do something. Meaning that you have the ability, the capabilities to produce a certain result. Depends on what kind of skill sets do you have. And skills are transferable. It's not limited to just one industry and one company. So whatever skills that you've developed, you can transfer to other industries if you want to.
Rule number 43, just do it.
It doesn't matter how many techniques you know. In business, nothing happens until you make a sale. It's not about how many selling techniques you know. You need to go out there and sell something. Sell your product, sell your service in exchange of money. It's commerce. That's what business is. It's adding value to the marketplace, solving a problem, fulfilling a need in exchange of money, dollars. People vote with their wallets. What you say doesn't matter. You might say your product's the best in the world. If no one is willing to buy it, it doesn't mean anything. You gotta pull the trigger. You gotta go ask for that sale. You can't be weak and afraid and shy. You gotta go out and get it and ask for the sale. So you get some rejection. So people say no to you. Who cares? So you know all these techniques. So you know 365 sex positions. You cannot get laid on a Friday night. What difference does it make? What is you go alone? Right? And now you say, oh, let me learn the 388th positions. Can't even use one. Can't even use one. You gotta go and do it.
Rule number 44, be aware of your weaknesses.
What are your weaknesses? One of the most common questions you'll get during an interview when you're applying for a job. Now, over the years, I've asked this question to so many applicants, and I am shocked by the answers. So today I'm going to teach you how to answer that question properly. First, let's talk about what you don't do. So when your employer, your interviewer is asking you, so what are your weaknesses? Oh, I have none. Don't ever say that. It is a lie. You know it's a lie. I know it's a lie. Just when people say that, just get out of here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. When you say, I have none. And don't say, well, you know, I never thought about it. No one ever asked me that. Seriously, no one ever asked you that. Maybe you think you're being smart with the reply. Don't do that. It just shows you are dishonest, and also it shows you lack self-awareness. Those are not good answers. Also, here are the ones I hear all the time that also is a big no-no. I'm kind of a workaholic and a bit too much of a perfectionist. Give me a break. Don't try to turn it and put a positive spin on it when you're being asked what are your weaknesses, right? Another one I hear all the time, oh, I love people, I love working with people. Really, I don't like you that much right now. Okay, that's not good. That's not what you do. So here's how you answer it. What are your weaknesses? The key is don't make that about your personality. If you're gonna share something, make that about your skill set that you could work on. Here's what I mean by that. When you share something about your personality to an employer, it could feel like, well, I don't know if you could fix that. That maybe is who you are. But if you make it about a skill set, then it's something that you could work on. So I'll give you an example. What are your weaknesses? Well, I'm more of an introvert, and sometimes I notice that I'm shy to share my ideas when there's a room of people. Now, see, that's a good reply if you are an introvert, because here's what's going through my mind. My mind is thinking, okay, this person is shy, introvert, and that's okay. So it means that in certain scenario, maybe I need to ask this person more to speak up. I can say, hey, what do you think of this? Or in my mind, I'm also thinking, well, maybe through time, once this person becomes more comfortable with everybody else within the company, she could share more ideas. See, that's what's going through my mind, right? That is fixable. Or maybe this person could go take Toastmasters and develop more confidence and work on her public speaking skills a bit. See, in my mind, all that's fixable. That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Rule number 45, take extreme ownership.
One of the core values within our Dan Lok organization is extreme ownership. That means taking responsibility for all your actions. Now, in the typical corporate culture, there are a lot of backstabbing and pointing fingers. Oh, it's not my fault, and she did that, and he did that. As a company, it's not healthy to have that. Now, assuming you are in a healthy environment, you want to take extreme ownership. That also means that if someone assigns a task to you, even though maybe it's a team effort, but the buck stops with you. If it doesn't get done, if you miss the deadline, you take responsibility versus, because she's holding up the project, or that's his fault, or I don't have enough resources, that is not gonna get you promoted. Because again, you wanna think a few steps ahead and solve problems before it comes up. It's not about resources, it's about becoming resourceful. So taking extreme ownership in all things you do. How you do anything is how you do everything. So it's not just at work, but other areas of your life. I believe this is a very good value to live by. Take extreme ownership.
Rule number 46, invest in yourself.
I was first speaker in day one. And after my presentation, I sat down, front row seat, kind of VIP sitting at the front, and I would just pay attention and take notes. And the second speaker came up on stage, and about halfway through his presentation, I stood up and walked towards the very back of the room. And people thought, is Dan leaving? Is he going back to his hotel room? Which could be the case, because I spent a lot of energy in the first segment, right, when it's during my speech. But that was not the case. I was actually walking towards the back to sign up for the speaker's education, because he had an offer that he was talking about. Now, no one moved. I was the first one to move. And the staff was asking me, well, Dan, you don't know what the offer is yet, right? I said, it doesn't matter, just here's my credit card, put in my credit card. He said, but you don't even know how much it is yet. You don't know, is it a workshop? Is it like a group of DVDs? What kind of package? Is it a book? You know what it is? I said, it doesn't matter, just put in my credit card. And he did. After he finishes filling the form and everything, right? I walked back, sat down, front row seat, taking notes again. And I did the same thing for the third speaker, fourth speaker, and the rest of the speakers that day. I bought everybody's education. And at the end, one of the staff couldn't help. He said, Dan, I don't understand. Like, why are you investing and buying all these courses? Like, don't you teach into the marketing? I mean, you're an expert on this subject. I mean, look, I saw your presentation, I saw your screenshot. I mean, you make millions of dollars online. Like, why are you buying all these courses? I looked at him as a reply, I said, duh, how do you think I get to be successful? Because I invest in myself, right? I'm always investing in myself. I'm always looking for that edge.
Rule number 47, have a crystal clear goal.
Your success in life is largely determined by how clear you are with your vision. So what is your ideal lifestyle? What is it that you want to accomplish? Maybe let's say you want to travel the world, you want to see and you want to experience new things. Then, well, maybe working in an office and stuck in the same cubicle, that's not what you want to do. That's not where you want to be. On the other hand, maybe you want to work with a lot of people, you want to connect, then working behind a computer silo on your own, being very lonely, that may not be your thing either, right? So get crystal clear. What is your ideal lifestyle? What kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of car you want to drive, right? Where do you want to travel? What kind of lifestyle you want to provide for your family? How much money you want to make? Income is important. Lifestyle is important, but income is important as well.
Rule number 48, avoid being toxic.
I was working at a supermarket making minimum wage. And one of the things I hated the most about that toxic environment was the office politics. A lot of backstabbing, even though I was doing my best, and it's always, you have the people who belong to kind of this group and that group, and you don't know who's gonna kind of backstab you, or they're talking behind your back. And I hated the environment because I want to grow, I want to be better. And I don't like to work in an environment like that. So when you're working with their company, don't try to get ahead by like stepping down on somebody or trying to set somebody up. That's not how you get ahead. Because a good CEO, a good leader would see through that immediately. Personally, within my company, we have zero tolerance in terms of office politics or like all these gossips. I don't care who that person is. I don't care how valuable that person is. I don't care how high performance that person is. If that person is involved in doing these office politics, I will not have that person within my company, because that's how you create a toxic culture, right? And then it becomes a thing where it's a conflict. It's always a struggle. It's a power pull. We don't want that. We want everyone to focus on the mission and we go to the same direction. So avoid all those things. Focus on what you do well, help your colleagues, help your coworkers, support them and help them grow. Then it becomes a very nice positive momentum that, hey, we're elevating people, we're not putting down people. So avoid all those office politics and gossips.
Rule number 49, master the fundamentals.
I remember the first month when I learned Wing Chun, my Sifu, my instructor, was teaching me the straight punch, right? The whole first month, all we did is we just straight punch. Either we do it this way, we do it this way, we do it forward, right? We do it backward. And after a month of this is stupid. Like, this is a scam, right? I pay my tuition, Sifu doesn't do anything, just teaching me this shit. Like, what the hell is this? I was thinking, I want to learn these fancy techniques, and they're doing some cool fancy techniques. And suddenly, it's like a bit of like Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. Then my Sifu said, okay, now you hit somebody with this. Now let me train you with this. And suddenly, oh, because I've been practicing for a month, I didn't know I was internalized some of the techniques, very simple technique. In Wing Chun, it's very, very simple. It's very direct. We don't have a lot of techniques, right? You have the slapping hand, which is the pak sao, right? You have the pak sao, or you have the lap sao here, right? Which is the, right? Pulling hand, right? Or you have the bong sao. This is like that, right? You have if someone throw a hook, right? Tan sao from here, and that's okay. Like, we don't have a lot of fancy techniques. It's just those fundamentals over and again, right? And that's what makes it cool. It's the application of very basic techniques, because when you are in a scenario, when you're getting attacked, what you don't want is you have a lot of techniques. You have, let's say, 100 techniques. Someone attacks you and you say, you know what, let me think about it. I want to use technique 55 combined with technique 64, and then I'm going to finish him off with technique 72. No, like when in doubt, like you just hit. And you don't want to have 3-4 punches in your mind, you have one, right? And then if there's something in the way that you want to use your sensitivity and you want to do something else. But it's variation of that. And you practice for so many years with the same stuff. So fundamentals over fancy techniques.
And rule number 50, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is decide to make a change.
See, human beings, we are creatures of habits. We don't like to change. The problem is most people in life, they're playing not to lose instead of playing to win. If you are playing to win, it involves taking some risk. It involves stepping outside your comfort zone, doing something you've never done before. Because here's what I believe in. You think about our lifespan. Let's say our average lifespan is 65 years. Maybe it's 80 years, maybe it's 90 years, doesn't matter. Let's say we have 65 years on this planet Earth. Well, first of all, the first 18 years of your life, you're learning how to walk, how to talk. You're living under your parents' roof, right? You don't make a lot of decisions on your own, right? You're going to school, you're learning a language, you're learning how to be an adult, going from a baby to a kid, to a teenager, from a teenager to an adult. The first 18 years. Now that's gone. 1/3 of your life is spent on sleeping. We need to sleep. So 1/3 of that is gone. Now, 1/3 of your life is wasted on entertainment, commute, and a lot of different things, and day-to-day laundry, right? And watching a movie, watching TVs, right? Wasting time on social media. That 1/3 is gone. So if you think about it, whatever is left, you have maybe 10, 12, 13 years that you could invest in to create the life that you want. Now, that's assuming if you don't make any mistakes. If you actually make any mistakes, meaning maybe you've lost some money in business or whatever that you want to do, even just to pay off the student loan that you've accumulated, that takes a few years. You've got this much time to create your ideal life. So for you, you've got this much time to create your ideal life. That's not a lot of time. So by not making a decision to make a career change, you are making a decision. Because your indecision is a decision. You have chosen, you have decided to stay at the same spot and not do anything about it. And the time gets shorter and shorter and shorter.
Now I've got a special bonus clip from Dan on how to focus on structure over strength that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. Where do you need to decide to make a change? Number 2, where do you need to embrace overwhelm? And number 3, how can you better connect with your audience this week? And if you made it this far in a video, you're still watching and you commit to taking action after watching this video. We don't just watch videos, we do something. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments because I want to celebrate you.
There are things I've learned from Wing Chun, and that is structure over strength. Now in business, sometimes you're competing with a company that is much bigger, that's got more resources, that's got more capital, they have more people, right? They have a better brand. Well, as a smaller company, how do you beat a bigger guy, right? You can't do that with strength. Let me look at those guns. I mean, they're pretty big, right? So you're facing a guy with like 150 pounds, 200 pounds, 250 pounds, and depends on your size. If you have strength versus strength, you're gonna lose. So Wing Chun is designed for the little guys to beat the bigger guys, and you don't do that with strength, you do that with structure. So let me give you a perfect example. If I was to push with Peter, right? I'm like using my muscle and like pushing him. He's pushing me, like right? You can see that again, right? Because I have no structure. My structure is off, right? However, if I have the proper, let's say, Wing Chun structure, right? And then instead of fighting force with force, my structure, my shoulders relax, right? And then as he's slowly giving me pressure, right? Now this relax more, a little bit more. Yeah, continue. See, now because my structure gives me strength, all his force is now transferred to the ground, like this, right? A little bit more, lean a little bit more, right? So it's not strength, right? It's not strength, right? It's just this. You see, this is relaxed. I'm not doing this. See, I'm not doing this, right? See that? See that? So structure. But if my structure is wrong, let's say my structure push. See that? My structure is wrong. So structure over strength. Hi, this is Dan Lok. If you're a fan of Evan's work, if you want to know exactly how to model my success, I want to invite you to join me for a special online training. All you have to do is click on the link below. You can join me for absolutely no charge. So click on the link below and I will see you in class.
If you want to see the top 10 I did on Dan Pena, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The adrenaline rush you get out of making a lot of money is beyond your comprehension. It just is. It's like winning the World Cup day after day after day.